We've all heard the story of the ant and the grasshopper. The ant works hard and saves for the winter. The ant is wise. The ant survives. The grasshopper sings all summer and saves nothing. The grasshopper is foolish. The grasshopper starves. This lesson is everywhere in our culture. A penny saved is a penny earned. Save for a rainy day. And for you, as an individual, this is absolutely sound advice. If you save 20% of your income, you will be richer and more secure next year. It's common sense. So it seems obvious that what's good for one person must be good for everyone, right? If we all become like the ant, our whole country should become wealthy and secure. But in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, an economist named John Maynard Keynes saw something that flipped this ancient wisdom on its head. He realized that when everyone tries to be the ant at the same time, the entire colony collapses. He discovered a terrifying economic trap where individual virtue becomes a collective vice. This is the paradox of thrift. It's the counterintuitive reality that if everyone tries to save more money during a recession, it actually makes everyone poorer. To wrap our heads around this, we need to understand a logical error called the fallacy of composition. This is the mistaken belief that what is true for a single part is also true for the whole system. Think about it like this. If one person stands up at a concert, they get a better view. But if everyone stands up, nobody's view improves, and now everyone just has tired legs. Or consider traffic. If one person leaves work early to beat the rush hour, they get home faster. But if everyone leaves work early, the traffic jam just happens earlier in the day. Keynes applied this exact logic to money. In any economy, one person's spending is another person's income. My spending is your income. If I buy a coffee, the cafe owner earns money. If she uses that money to buy new supplies, the supplier earns money. This circulation is the very heartbeat of the economy. Now, imagine a recession hits, people get scared. They look at the news, worry about their jobs, and think, I need to be responsible. I need to be the ant. I'm going to cut back on my spending and save more. Individually, this makes perfect sense. Let's say I decide not to buy a new pair of shoes. I save $100. I feel safer. But what happens to the economy as a whole? Well, because I didn't buy those shoes, the shoe store owner just lost $100 of income. Now he's worried. To cut his own costs, he might reduce his employees' hours, or even fire someone. That employee now has less income, or maybe no income at all. So, what do? They stop buying things, maybe they cut back on groceries. Now the grocery store owner loses income. This creates a downward spiral. My attempt to save money destroyed someone else's income, which in turn destroyed another person's job, which then destroyed another business's income. We all tried to increase our savings, but by doing so, we collectively crashed the economy. And when the total income of the economy shrinks, the total amount of money available to be saved also shrinks. This is the paradox. An increase in the desire to save leads to a decrease in actual savings for the society as a whole. This isn't just a fun thought experiment. This is exactly what happened during the Great Depression. After the stock market crash of 1929, a wave of fear swept across America. Households stopped buying cars and appliances. Companies stopped investing in new factories. Everyone started hoarding cash. People literally stuffed money under their mattresses because they thought that was the safest thing to do. But by taking all that money out of circulation, they sucked the oxygen out of the economy. Factories shut down because nobody was buying their products. Unemployment skyrocketed to an unimaginable 25%. The more people tried to save, the deeper the depression became. This is when Keynes argued that the government must step in. Why? Because during a crisis, the government is the only one big enough to play the role of the grasshopper when everyone else is trying to be the ant. This is the intellectual origin of stimulus spending. The government starts spending money building bridges, dams, roads, not just for the infrastructure itself, but to deliberately inject income into the hands of workers. Those construction workers then take their paychecks and go buy groceries and shoes. The baker and the shoemaker now have income again. They start spending and the engine of the economy slowly sputters back to life. The government has to break the cycle of fear and thrift to get things moving again. Let's look at a more modern example. Japan. In the 1980s, Japan's economy was an unstoppable force. Then in 1991, their massive real estate and stock market bubble burst. For the last 30 years, Japan has been wrestling with the paradox of thrift. Japanese companies are famously conservative. They remember the crash vividly, so they hoard cash instead of investing it in new projects or higher wages. Their corporate savings are at record highs. At the same time, Japan has an aging population. Older people naturally save for retirement. They don't spend money like young people who are buying houses, starting families, and furnishing homes. The result is a deflationary spiral. Because nobody is spending, prices start to fall. When prices fall, people think, why should I buy a new TV today? It will probably be cheaper next month. So they wait, which means they save even more. This causes spending to drop further, which causes prices to drop further. It's a vicious cycle. The Japanese government has tried everything. They've cut interest rates to zero and even to negative levels. They've launched massive government spending programs. But the deep-seated psychological desire to save is so powerful that the economy remains stuck in a low gear. It's what economists call a liquidity trap. You can flood the system with money, but you can't force people or businesses to actually spend it. We even saw a fascinating real-time version of this in 2020 when the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Two things happened simultaneously. First, people were terrified of losing their jobs. Second, everything was closed anyway. You couldn't go to restaurants, movie theaters, or on vacation. In a recession, collective saving can be a vice. Sometimes, spending is virtuous. And sometimes, government debt is the fuel needed to restart the engine. It forces us to accept that we are all interconnected. Your spending is my income, and my spending is your income. If we all retreat into our individual shells like frightened ants, there won't be any summer harvest left for anyone. The economy isn't a collection of separate islands. It's a single vast ocean. And for that ocean to support life, the water has to keep moving. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world.